We have data for a school district, and we have a sample of 50 students with their scores from different schools. And the maximum test score can be 800. The sample size is 50, exactly how many scores we have over here. And the average is calculated for the test scores. Now, we would like to see the standard deviation. So how much from the average these scores will go in both directions. So let's go equal sign, and then we are looking for standard deviation. And if you use the down arrow, you can see that this one is based on the entire population, which is not our case. We have a sample. So let's scroll down. Estimate standard deviation based on a sample. So let's go ahead and use this one. And then we are supposed to give the numbers. The numbers would be the test scores. So we start from the top, Control Shift down. We got all the test scores, C4, C53. Let's go ahead and remove all the decimal places from here. Let's understand what exactly the standard deviation is. If I take the average and I add up the standard deviation, that would be the maximum. And if I take the average and go down by the standard deviation, what it means is that we have 68% of scores in this range. In range 336, 698. Okay, let's go ahead and calculate the variance. The variance is basically 181 times 181, so it will be the standard deviation squared. But we can also use Excel, so we can use the variance for a sample again. Okay, and we get the numbers. So the numbers would be all the test scores. And we got that number. So let's remove the decimal places. And let's just, for the sake of testing this, I'm taking the number, multiply it by itself, and we got the same one. Okay. Let's see now how the test scores correlate to the absences. We have test scores in here and days absent there. And the name of the function would be correlation. So let's see if we have something in Excel, and we do have Corel. Let's double click it, and let's select the test scores, Control Shift down. So that would be the first list of numbers, comma. We go to the second list of numbers, which would be the days absent, Control Shift down. And let's push enter. And let's get rid of all the decimal places. Now let's see what a negative correlation and 0.37 actually means. So basically you will get a higher score, slightly higher score, if you were absent less. I'm going to link below the video to this website where the correlation coefficient is explained. It ranges from -1 to +1. -1 would be the strongest inverse relation, and +1 would be the strongest positive correlation. So the bigger number, the bigger the other number associated. If you have, for example, a 0.5, that means that 25% of the variation is related. So you have 0.5 squared. Okay, if you have a 0.7 squared, then that means 49% of the variance is related. But then it's a good idea to read these things over here. It's very interesting. So you don't really have to assume that the correlation means that a change in one variable causes a change in another. So let's see, in our case, how much of the variance is related. I take our correlation times our correlation again. So that's 13.7%. Now let's use a function to calculate the frequency. So if someone was not absent, we want to see what's the percentage. If people were absent 1 through 5 absences, we want to see the frequencies. 6 through 10, we want to see the frequency. To do that, we will use what's called an array formula. For an array formula, we have to select all these blank spots where the formula will go in. We type the equal sign, and let's use the frequency function. Calculates how often values occur within a range of values, and then returns a vertical array of numbers having one more element than B's array. So let's see the frequency. And the data array would be the days absent, so it would be this column, Control Shift down arrow. Let's move up, comma, the beans array would be these numbers we have. To finalize this formula, we have to push Control Shift Enter. We are actually not done with this one. We have to do one more step. So let's go back to it. And I'm going to divide. So we want to see the percentage. Okay, so we saw over here 7, so that means we have 7 people that were absent. But what is 7 out of 50? So let's go ahead and actually divide by 50. And Control Shift Enter again. And that's the percentage. So let's make it so. So when you go to this formula, you see those curly brackets. So that tells you that we have an array formula. So all these are interdependent. To check the formula, we can add up all these percentages and we see that they make 100%. Then we can also, if you remember, we can use the count if function. So I want to see how many did not miss a class. So I'm going to use this range and the criteria would be 0. I just want to see if I get the 7. Okay, so it looks like it worked.